Fun time of year. Obviously, NBA season starting, and we're getting ready to kick it off here in another week. And I talk to my guys about this all the time. Obviously, going through what we went through last year, it was eye opener for all of us, right? In terms of not taking things for granted, having the opportunity to do something we love. So it was definitely special getting back, having some normalcy, having some consistency in what we're doing, how we work. And these guys have worked their tails off. I think they've been very appreciative of getting back out there and working and preparing. And I like where we're at. I don't think that many coaches would this time of year say they don't like where they're at. So I'm just being very honest. But I think, but I do sincerely like where we're at in terms of this team. And there's some things we wanted to shore up from last year. And I go back to last season, and it was obviously very odd and unique and different type of year. But with that said, I thought we were figuring it out. Not having a preseason, we were starting to figure it out, and that team was really good defensively. And we had that stretch there where when we started conference play, beating Memphis twice and beating Houston, who was ranked 5th in the country, winning at Cincinnati, which we haven't done very often. We were in a good place, and we were defending, and we were doing some good things. And then obviously you all don't know all the things that happen within your program because of COVID and dealing with things and issues within your program. And we struggle winning at home with some close games, and then we lost our confidence. But with that said, I feel like it really identified some things I felt like we needed to do better, and I think I wanted more balance. And offensively, I think we've done that. I think we've added a number of guys on our team that can really shoot the ball. I think now we're not where we were last year or where we need to be defensively yet, but we're definitely in a good place where I think we've got more skilled. Even though we've got a lot of new guys, we've got some older guys, and and this time and age in college basketball, that's key. So I do think we're older. So we can talk specifically about individual guys, but I do think we're in a good place in general with that in mind. Questions?
You mentioned adding guys who can shoot the ball. Ladavius is, sure, one of those. What does he bring to the team with all of his experience?
Drain, obviously, I think he's seasonal. I mean, I don't know if Drain would have decided he was going to put his name in the portal early, we would have gotten him because he would have been highly sought after. Because you very seldom you get a guy that's been 1,000-point scorer in Division I, and I think he's second all-time three-point shooter at Southern Miss. He's very capable, but he's so mature, and he's been through it. And when we had got him late, when he decided he didn't want to go play professionally, he wanted to experience another year of college. That was a blessing. And but just having a guy that, not only because of his shooting, but just his maturity and his understanding, and been through it and put numbers up against good competition. So, yeah, we're excited about Drain, what he brings. I mean, and in what role, whether it be off the bench or starting, he's going to be a great addition.
Drain, a heck of a name for a shooter.
Yeah, how about that?
Darian's role. You mentioned, obviously having some pieces that allow you to do some things offensively, but I would imagine he's awfully important in terms of keeping it all together defensively.
Yeah, and Darian is, obviously he came back another year, when he and I talked, I said, if you come back, let's make sure we obviously embrace who you are, because who you are has helped us win a lot of basketball games. But let's do a little bit more. Let's try to this off season work on some being a better ball handler, being a better playmaker, and being a better shooter. And I think he's worked in those areas. But what Darian does bring to the table is he has to continue to do that. I mean, that's why he's a fan favorite. He's a floor burn guy. He's take charges. He's a offensive rebound. He does the dirty work, guard the other team's best player. And I think, it's funny, I asked Darian because of his, what he's done for this program, and I went to him and said, Darian, I said, let's talk about, what you want to start, you want to come off the bench, or what are your thoughts? And he goes, which is unbelievable. He said, Coach, I want to do whatever you think I should do. I don't know if you have many players that say that to you. Whatever you think is best for us, get us the best chance to win, that's what I want to do. And I'll leave that up to you. That's pretty amazing. So it tells you a little bit about that young man.
You could talk about Sam Griffin, looked really good in scrimmages, obviously has credentials coming in. Quite a get for you. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think Sam is going to be really, really good. I'll go ahead and put that out there. I'll put the pressure on him right now. I think he's talented. I think he can, he's as good a guard we've had here in terms of going to score the ball. I mean, he can shoot it, but obviously he can get it off the deck. I think they just think he's talented. I mean, he's got a chance to be, one of our obviously one of our leading scorers, and I think he'll have a chance to be one of the leading scorers in the league.
And also the ability to play more than one position. I know you're more playing point guard, but you can move to shooting guard. You can do different things that I'm talking about.
I think we have depth there because I think you look at Keyshawn coming back, and I think Keyshawn's made great strides. He had a scratched retina, so he hasn't played in the scrimmage, but he'll be back. He's been back practicing now. But Keyshawn's had a great fall, summer. I think he can play the one. And obviously Anthony Pritchard can too. So I think we got great depth there. But Sam is one of those guys. He's good when he's got the ball in his hands. So he's a guy you can float and play off the ball too.
Your big guys, how are you seeing that rotation play out?
I think Ray has made great strides. He's been a little banged up with his knee. But I think that we got three guys, Ray and Josh. And you guys forget that Josh had a rod put in his leg last year. So we didn't really see what Josh is capable of. And then Nikita. Nikita's different than both those guys. Nikita's 6'10". He's got good length. And, he has great skill set in terms of his hands and passing the ball. So we've done some things differently offensively to play to his strengths. And I think, his value is that he has good ability to pass the ball in the high post and do some things, and he can score too. But, those three guys I think will play that position. But something we'll do that we did 2 years ago a lot is Dry will play some. We'll play small. And so I like that versatility with this team. I think we have the ability to be big if we need to be big, but I also think we have the ability to be small and play Dry at the 5 as a stretch 5 that can shoot it.
Can you pronounce Nikita's last name?
No, I'll let him do that for you guys. And he says it when he tries to tell you how to say it like you should be able to say it. So that'd be great when you guys got a chance to tell him. What is that? No.
As far as height goes, is this the tallest group of players you've been able to assemble here at Tulsa?
Well, that first year, you had Dre and Big E and Brandon, and we were pretty long. I don't know if our guards are bigger. I think we were bigger across the front with, adding a guy like Tim is 6'7", is super athletic, and Drain's like 6'4", and, all those guys got good sizes, guards, and Pritch is the littlest guy, and I call him Little Man, but he's 6'1", fast, and athletic, so we got good length overall.
Coach, are you seeing a certain level of excitement from your players, the fact that they're going to be playing against three teams that did very well in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, and I just saw Colorado State's preseason #1 in their league in the Mountain West, so it's a pretty doggone good league out there. So we, having them in Boise and you mentioned ORU and Oregon State went to Elite Eight, I think, pretty sure, and our schedule is really good. North Texas won the Conference USA. They got a lot of those guys back, so we got a really, really good non-league schedule. But the excitement with this team has been every day. That's the one thing I will point to about this team. They're super competitive. There's not a day that we don't have a practice where there's really good competition, and those guys get after it. And I love that about this squad. So there's good leadership right now, and we talk about haven't talked about Dry that much, but Dry brings a lot of things back to Tulsa. But the one thing that I'm seeing and I'm excited about is his leadership, his locker room ability, and being a voice when we're not there. So I sense that this group is getting closer together because we got to, it takes time to build that chemistry you want, but I feel good about where we're at right now.
That is a unique situation with Jariah. How did that all end up going down?
Well, when Jariah decided to leave 2 years ago, and this portal thing, I mean, it's part of college basketball. And my thing, when Jariah and I met, he fulfilled his obligation. He graduated from Tulsa, and, they have the ability to do what he decided to do. And I was obviously disappointed. I'd love to see Jariah stay like Darian did, but understood it. And I think there's no hard feelings. And therefore, when he had a chance he could have stayed at Colorado. He was second leading scorer and leading rebounder, but he wanted to come back here and finish his career. I think it just tells you about our culture and what we have here. And Jariah's an awesome young man, and he's going to have I think he's going to have a special season.
Frank, are you adjusting to the prevalence of the portal? You got used to it, or
Yeah,
are you more tolerant of it?
Tolerant is a good word. That's a good word. I think it's as long as you know it's here. It's here to stay. I mean, it's all about student athlete. And I will say this: I think there's something that the kids will have to get adjusted to because this year it won't be as prevalent as it was last year. Is because you have a deadline when you have to be in the portal, but if you transfer before, you can't transfer again. So the grad transfer thing is gone. So it's just and there's not going to be a lot of waivers. So you got to be in by that date, but you can't have transfer. There's so many kids. There are probably 400 or 500 kids in the portal this year had already transferred before. So, that's going to be the difference. Like a Jariah couldn't do what he did in the future. So, but I've talked to my staff all the time. I said it's part of our recruiting. You got to think about it. And so much of the game is, you find yourself in the springtime, putting together your roster. That's what it gets to.
With all the changes coming to the American, I know we're several seasons from that, but do you think there'll still be the chance for the American to remain a multiple bid league?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, the Americans done great things since being in the league. I think you've seen people up their recruiting and be better. I mean. There's no way I feel like we're not going to be a multiple bid league. I think that's going to be consistent. As long as we continue, and I just mentioned this to Rick, adding teams, we still should stay at the 18, so you give yourself a chance to play non-league games against other opponents, Power Fives, like we're doing. You have to do that. And I think if you continue to do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to be a league that will have multiple bids.
Having said that, does it sting a little bit more with how Kelvin broke through just last year with Houston to see them depart?
I mean, when UConn left, it stung. So I think there's going to be a little bit of that. I mean, I think we would be, but I also think that it's a chance for programs like what Houston was when they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago. When I first got here, Houston was not good, but I think the American did some great things to help Houston. So maybe we could do the same thing for the programs that are in the league now. That's what I look at it. Because it's all about the exposure and what you get from being an American. It helps your recruiting, and that's the end of the day. That's what helped prevail Coach Sampson to be able to do what he's done at Houston.
With some of the schools that are being added, they are, big cities where probably there's some pretty good ball players. Is it a good thing for you recruiting-wise?
Oh, yeah, to get to San Antonio. And, we've started messing in North Carolina a little bit with Charlotte. And the Florida thing has been big for us. Obviously, we got 2 kids from Miami, and Sam and Tim, South Florida area. But that was based on Central Florida. But now adding the Miami area with FAU and Boca, obviously that's good for us as a league. I think we were in Texas, but now that North Texas and San Antonio and Rice still able to go into Houston. I think that's really important for our league.